This is CK with CK Brick Collection. Welcome to my channel. And this week we are still working on building these walls for my e-commerce store. And I will focus a little bit on the painting aspect. I'm by no means an expert. As you can see, I already splashed some paint on the floor, which was quite disastrous, but I do have a solution for that. I will share in a future video. I decided to go with the black paint because it kind of goes with my brand, and I thought that I could use shelves to kind of contrast the colors. It will work just fine. I started off using spray paint because most of my walls are built with plywood and they have a lot of imperfections, and the screw heads are kind of difficult to reach with the roller. So I decided to use spray paint, but then I realized that I need to use both. And here my daughter wanted to help out, and we did our best for her not to make a mess of the house, and she did just fine. It was supposed to initially be on painting, but there's a lot going on in this garage, and I realized that I'm not ready just yet. I have to put up those panels there for those walls with exposed studs, but I did install some shelves over here, and there are way more shelves to install as well. I will give you guys a tour eventually and kind of explain what's going on with the store. This is the back side of the store, where I'm gonna have mostly eBay related stuff and a table for photography. But now the issue is as we're moving in, I'm just taking stuff in and just dumping them on the table. And even if this looks organized with the totes stacked on top of each other, I don't want to do that because this is lost opportunity for inventory, for eBay or whatever it may be, but mostly eBay, for the back side of the store. So I figured I need to get these totes out of the way because those are mostly for festivals and shows anyways. But up here above the garage door for about 20 feet, which is the width of the garage, I could use that top space as shelving. And I figured that I would do that. I went to the hardware store and I bought these wire racks and yeah, these metal supports, whatever they're called, brackets. So yeah, I'm gonna time lapse this. You guys are gonna see me, and please don't look at the floor. That's the absolute, yeah. Pretend you didn't see that. Above the garage door, and we're gonna start installing that rail system. And I think my neighbor's here. James showed up, and we decided to cut these boards to the required height and for them to match up to the existing walls so we could finally board them up. And some of them were already pre-painted with spray paint, but as you'll see later on, I will be adding some coats with the actual gloss bear paint and black. Same as usual, we fasten the boards temporarily with a few screws, and then eventually I'll come back and add a whole bunch more and locate the studs with my stud finder to make sure I truly have a secure connection with the studs. That way in the future, when I do add some weight to the walls and shelves and so on, I don't need to worry about the structural integrity. As you can see, that wall to the left has a section of it that's a little bit taller, and the reason why is because it's actually connected by 2x4s to the garage wall, and it had to clear above the electric panel, so that wall had to be slightly taller. Okay, well, neighbor finally left. James was here yesterday. We got to finish up with these boards, and I was going to work on the brackets, which I probably am today if I have time, but I figured why not just add one coat of paint, because I already set it up, and I have this plastic drop cloth already set up with the blue tape. Yeah, well, let's get to it. Let's work on that first coat of paint. Although I do still have to screw some of these boards fully into the studs so I could fasten them properly, but let's get going with the paint. Well, it seems like I just ran out of paint. I got to do at least one wall, but yeah, here's my paint can. Let me see, let's flip this over. Here it is. It's a glossy black paint from Behr, and I only had 1 gallon so far. It seems like I might need a second one. Second one should cover the rest of the walls, hopefully, but yeah, let's see. Now I'm gonna jump over to the brackets and the storage space above the garage door. Alright, I'm standing on a ladder. I am above the garage door right now, and I'm going to start looking for the studs with my trusty stud finder from Costco, if you guys are interested in getting one. And I'll show you guys kind of how it works. It's pretty simple, but very convenient to find the studs for the brackets, because this shelf is going to be sustaining quite some weight, as I'm going to be stacking, well, not stacking, but I'm going to be placing totes up here. Yeah, let's find the studs. Okay, the way this stud finder works is it takes 2, I want to say, AA batteries, and you could slide it around until you see the red lights. When you do, that means you got a stud there, and then the studs are usually 2 inches, 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. Yeah, and there it is. There's one right there. You can mark it and then come back and place the bracket on the stud, and so on. And actually, there's no electrical up here, but you see this marker right here is for electricity. If you want to avoid wires, you just pay attention to that and it'll flash yellow, and that means there are wires there. You want to try to avoid it if you don't want to get electrocuted. Actually, I don't know how bad it would be. You just get shocked, I guess. But yeah, all right, well, I'm gonna work on getting these brackets installed up here. I had barely enough battery life to cover the process of 1 wire rack installation, but I did install 3 more all along the wall. 2 supports were sufficient enough per wire rack, and you can get them at Lowe's. Probably Home Depot has something similar, but I got these from Lowe's. And here I'm continuing to fasten these boards and adding a second layer of paint to the walls that are already painted. And surprisingly enough, that wall that I just painted, the paint actually dried up within an hour or 2 hours. So I was able to come back and add a second coat. Yeah, so I double coated these walls fully, and I had a little bit of paint left over, but my battery died, and I was able to paint the other side of one of these walls. And because it dried so quickly, I figured, hey, why not install some shelves? And I got to install one. The store is coming together. I just realized that the 3 walls are kind of blended together because I painted them black. But yeah, let's take a look at the progress we've had so far. We've double coated the walls, at least the inside, this U shape that we were going for finally. It's pretty cool to sketch something and have it come together. I had some family members and friends say, well, you know what, your garage looks significantly smaller now, because you know, you look at the square footage for the whole garage and put this in perspective, it almost looks like I gave myself a cubicle. But the reality is what I did is I gave myself, each wall is approximately 10 linear feet. So if you do the math, that's 10 feet right here, 10 feet right here, another 10 right there, another 10 right there, and behind the store, which gives you a total of about, what, 60 linear feet. I added 60 linear feet of wall space to the store. And now I'm finally starting to utilize this wall space. The idea is, sorry for the mess, guys. I mean, I'm nowhere near done packing. This is kind of, you know, ridiculous. I get depressed when I look at all this stuff, so I try to look away. But, oh, I also installed this, my bubble wrap dispenser and some paper that I salvaged, and I was just being thrifty with. And I rolled it up as well because it'll come in handy. And oh yeah, okay, regarding these stackables, eventually I'm going to keep expanding up to these filing cabinets where I have my instructions. I like to keep instructions. Do I sell them a lot? Not necessarily, but I like to hold on to them. I think it's fun. And yeah, when I'm done expanding over here with the stackables, I'm going to come over here. This wall is going to be utilized for another purpose. I'll tell you guys in a little bit, but I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use this wall space. Manual focus is a little better. Yeah, I'm going to start using the stackables here, but first, this white shelf you see over here, I'm going to have more shelving up here. That way I can use my CMFs, and if ever someone walks into my store and they want to shop around, I want to make that possible as well. I'm running an e-commerce, but I also, if you know, a friend or someone that I personally know, I'm not going to advertise my address, but if someone I personally know ends up coming to the house and wants to buy something, this is pretty easy for them to access. And even when I'm going to shows, I could easily see which CMFs I like to take with me to that particular event. So yeah, we're gonna have shelving over here, and underneath the shelving I'm gonna have stackables. I still don't know how many stackables I could have. Perhaps if I have one over here, and then in the middle I'll have another shelf, and then at the bottom I'll have 2 stackables. So it'll be a total of 3 stackables. Make a column there, and then I'd have to do the math to see how many stackables I could have. But yeah, we're gonna start with this wall and then wrap around to this wall, and eventually I'm gonna come to this wall. Although it's kind of tight, I think we could make it work, because the width of, not the width, the depth of the stackable, I want to say is about 7 inches. 7 inches wouldn't hurt this space too much, but actually installing a shelf here, I think would significantly encroach on walking through here. But a stackable, I think, is feasible. And then I'd come around, and if I ever need more space for expanding, it's gonna be a little dark here, guys. I didn't take my water. I didn't take my light with me. But yeah, this will give me more opportunity. But I don't think I'm there yet at all. We still have a lot of growth to do. I mean, look at this wall. This wall is kind of empty. Yeah, I think it's looking good. Maybe I'm a little over prepared, but yeah. And as you can see up top, we have those wire racks that I installed, and I'm going to install a few more of those just to get everything off the ground and neatly organized up above the wall. Yeah, so the concept here is really utilizing the wall space as much as possible. I'm going to add another shelf over here, about 2 inches below the top of the wall, more or less. just enough for the garage door to slide above these CMFs. And actually, the garage door almost hits this one, but it's probably half an inch. There's probably half an inch clearance, so we're good there. All right, well, I'm gonna get back to work and wipe down these shelves and start installing them. And in the future, I will talk about this wall and my idea with it, but we'll get to that for sure. Since I already had extra shelves and brackets in front of me, I figured why not install them and wrap up the day with installing 2 more. And I had to balance these like a 30-pound, it felt like a 30-pound pizza box, holding them with one hand and trying to fasten the bracket with another. It was a little bit tricky, but it turned out to be fine. I used my level to make sure they're nice and level, as it's kind of hard to see if you just eye it. And then I installed these pegboards, and in the future I'll explain what this wall is for. But this is CK with CK Brick Collection, and see you in the next video.